Hey, what's up, guys? Today my blog post, which you could read down below, is titled Go Hard, Then Go Home, How Not to Be a Lazy Lifter. Essentially, I point to the principle that you've got to balance out your anabolic work and your catabolic work, your go hard work and your rest work, your striving work and your resting work, your yang activity and your yin activity. And yang activity is bright, hot, and penetrating, where yin activity is cold, dark, and receiving. And this is a principle of life. We even see it in the daily rotation of the earth and our experience of the sun and moon, right? These are principles. That's why the Tai Chi symbol is such a powerful description, a meme to describe how to live our lives. So today I figure I'd give you guys 6 dark principles of personal growth. And I call them dark principles because they reflect the yin aspect, the soft aspect, the recovery, the reflection, the soft aspect of growing stronger, which is intrinsically linked. You absolutely cannot sever this from the coin, right? You can't have one, you can't have heads without the tails, right? Very often we ignore this though, and that's why I often try to point to these principles in my blog posts and my videos. And in fact, if you watch my videos for several years, this is a recurring theme. But today I'm going to give you guys, did I say 6? I meant 5, my bad. 5, I'm going to give you 5 principles, dark principles of personal growth. The very first one, these are all, by the way, these are all tools I personally use. Many of them I've used for years. Some of them I just started using recently because, of course, I'm just learning as I go along. And I've made some really big mistakes, especially with regard to going hard and not going home, being all yang and aggression and not having enough softness, being real aggressive with no tenderness, right? So I've spoken about this in multiple videos, and now I'm being forced to practice and execute and really master many of the things I've known and I've talked about. And what I'm going to share with you today, here are just a few of the practices that some of which I've used, but some of which are new. The very first one, which is new, is to work in spurts. I'm the type to just go hard without stopping. That's just my natural tendency. I'll go till I collapse. That's how I train in the gym. That's how that's how I do my work in my business. I just go. When I used to make videos, I was making 3-4 videos a day sometimes. For years I did this with no break. Grind, 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 grind. Well, I was forced to yield. I was forced, my physiology and my psychology pressed on me and forced me to take a freaking break. And that's why you see me the way you see me here today, because months ago I stopped making videos. I moved my gym and I had to restructure my lifestyle, my work habits to be in congruence, to be in integrity with natural law. So working in spurts, this is how I do it now. I take 33-minute work intervals. What I do is I set a clock for 33 minutes. 33 minutes. The number 33 comes from an interesting lecture I once heard by Eugene Schwartz, who's a famous copywriter. And he said, take 33 minutes and 33 seconds, right? And set your clock. Anyway, I thought it was interesting that he said 33.33. So I set my iPhone clock for 33 minutes. And I dig in, I go hard. What's interesting though is that sometimes I'm going so hard and that beeper goes off and I have to force myself to stop. I have to be strong enough to stop. It beeps and I say, I'm in the middle of something. Okay, toughen up. You gotta do this. You gotta rest. And I'll take about 10 minutes. I'll either just go for a walk around the block, I'll lay in my hammock, or I'll just read or do something else. The whole idea is that you gotta take at least 10 minutes away from your activity. If you're studying, if you're working at a job, when you're training, you know that you have to take rest intervals. It's a training principle and it's a life principle. So work in intervals. Spurts. Number 2, go to sleep. This is crazy. I remember being in college and having friends who would cram, right? So what that means is that they had a test or they had to accomplish some gargantuan feat of scholarly activity, right? You know, you've got a report or you've got a test or whatever you got, and they would stay up all night trying to get it done. Now me, I just followed my intuition from an early age. I kind of like, what my body says is where I try to go. I would just go to sleep. I was tired, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever the case may be. You want to stay up studying, I'm going to fuck to sleep. Because I have to honor my physiology. What becomes of your activity is completely, intrinsically linked to your physiology, to the way you take care of yourself, to your health. Your health is number one, right? Even though this is my Elliott Hulse channel and not my Strength Camp channel, I'm talking about health here, folks, because without a strong physiology, without a strong body, without a strong mind, no matter what you do, even if you're great at what you do, you're bound to be less than your best, and you'll ultimately break the fuck down. And that's a recipe for not being the strongest version of yourself. So my wife, she's a PTA president at one of my children, at my children's school, and they brought in an expert recently, and the expert spoke about the number one factor for children who don't succeed when they when they reach high school and college. And the number one factor was not studying enough, not reading enough, not spending enough time at school, but it was not sleeping enough. Isn't that crazy? You want an expert on education in the school system is telling us that in order to do well, in order to do better, in order to succeed, you must sleep. Crazy as fuck, isn't it? Get to bed as early as you can. I say 10:30 the latest. I've been getting to bed about 9:30 because I get up about 5:30. Right? That's just my rhythm. But I say get to bed as many hours before midnight as possible. Right? 8, 9, 10. When the sun starts going down, you should start going down. Start thinking about when can I start winding down and getting into bed so that you could fully recover. Not just physically, physiologically, mentally. You will be a better person by taking this dark principle to heart and getting your ass to bed. Number 3, rehydrate. Your brain thrives on water. Your entire nervous system, if you can think of it as like an electrical system, what happens when, what happens when you take a blow dryer and you throw it into a bathtub full of water? That electricity sparks and flies all over the place. Magnificent light show, especially if there's somebody in there. Right? Because water is a transmitter of energy. You want more energy, you want to think better, you want to succeed, drink more water. Sounds crazy because it's just too basic. Number 4, cardio instead of coffee. Right? Oftentimes, especially in the middle of the day or at any time that we've been working our asses off in a sedate manner, right? Sedentary manner, right? All of us are forced at some time, particularly during the day, unless you have a physical labor job, which even that, in that case, you still want to change the rhythm of the activity every once in a while. Most of us are kind of sitting, and we're kind of we're sedate, we're sedentary. I keep saying sedate instead of sedentary. We're sedentary. We're sitting at school, we're sitting in traffic, we're sitting in our office, we're sitting, and slowly our metabolism begins to drop and our attention begins to wane and we start to lose our ability to crush it. Instead of dehydrating yourself with another cup of coffee, right? I have nothing against coffee. I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, but know that in the middle of the day, for you to take a cup of coffee, it kind of screws up your circadian rhythm also, so you screw up principle number 2, right? Principle number 2 can't be executed if you're drinking coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So instead, go for a walk. I recently bought a treadmill and I put it in my office, and I know that every day around midday, after I've been crushing it and grinding it, making videos, writing blog posts, and creating products, I get on my treadmill for a number of reasons. Of course, it's great exercise for fat loss and whatnot, but because it brightens me back up. It gets the pumping of the heart, the pumping of your physiology. Another really good activity that you could engage in that's analogous to walking or doing some cardio is rebounding. Right? They've got these little trampolines, and if you can get one and put it in the corner of your room or your office or your dorm room, wherever you study and whatnot, and just get on it and bounce, effect drives energy through your body. It builds energy in your body, right? You could do it without a trampoline. I've made crazy ass Elliott Hulse videos where I'm bouncing and breathing at the same time. This is a magnificent way in forms of various forms of martial arts and Chinese medicine. They call that bone washing, bone marrow washing. And they just shake and vibrate. It brings up your energy and it grounds your energy. It's an interesting thing because the vibration, the shaking, kind of opens up and relaxes the muscular system around your chest, your belly, your pelvic floor, and even if your face, if you allow it to relax. So try it, you know. Of course, you got to be courageous enough not just to take the time, but to do silly shit like that, especially if people are watching. But maybe you start the movement, right? And explain to them that this is a powerful technique for achieving success. Maybe you should do it too. Get your whole office, get your whole school, get all your friends bouncing around and vibrating and making deep sounds. And then finally, number 5, when you're done, be done. All too often we engage by putting our full effort forth, and then when it's completed, either the deadline is up or we just can't do anymore and we're done, we complete the activity but carry the stress with us. We're thinking about it, right? We leave the job, we leave the office, and we go home and we're thinking about the shit that's already done, right? Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I wish I would have. Oh, I hope it did. Oh, I wonder if. Oh, maybe. Cut the shit off. When it's done, it's done. Done.